British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is hosting European leaders, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, at a high-level summit in London. The meeting aims to strengthen support for Ukraine and work towards securing a just and enduring peace in the region. Leaders from France, Germany, Denmark, Italy, Turkey, Canada, NATO and the European Union are in attendance.
Britain and France are working with Ukraine on a new plan to end the conflict with Russia. Prime Minister Keir Starmer is hosting a London summit called Securing Our Future on Sunday for crisis talks on Ukraine after a blowout between Kiev and Washington 2 days ago. Ahead of the summit, Starmer said that a plan to stop the conflict will be worked upon and discussed further with the United States.
We've now agreed that the United Kingdom, along with France and possibly one or two others, will work with Ukraine on a plan to stop the fighting, and then we'll discuss that plan with the United States.
Starmer emphasized the need for European countries to step up with a security guarantee for Ukraine, but insisted that US backing remains critical.
I think the way this works, to my mind, is that European countries have to do more and provide a security guarantee, and that's what I'm discussing with President Macron and others. It's what I'll be discussing today. But I've always been clear that that is going to need a US backstop, because I don't think it would be a guarantee without it.
Ahead of the summit, Starmer welcomed Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni to the Downing Street. The Italian leader stressed the need for unity amongst Western nations. The London meeting brings together key European leaders, including representatives from France, Germany, Denmark, Italy, Turkey, NATO and the European Union.
We need a plan. And that's why we're here. I think one of the big problems is that we're witnessing right now diplomatic cacophony. I mean, the number of groups that are dealing with the war in Ukraine has been multiplying as we go along. Someone needs to grab a hold of it. Someone needs to show leadership. That's the only way Europe can have skin in the game.
Zelenskyy arrived in London on Saturday, where he was warmly received by the British Prime Minister. His visit comes just a day after a closely watched meeting with US President Donald Trump at the Oval Office. During the visit, Zelenskyy expressed deep gratitude to the UK for its unwavering support. Both leaders announced a $2.84 billion worth loan agreement to strengthen Ukraine's defense capabilities.
Well, thank you very much. And that's our side of it. And in the next few days, the disbursements of money, we should be able to make those to Ukraine. I know that they are needed as quickly as possible. Thank you so much, Minister, for being able to join us today.
As tensions with Russia escalate, the Ukrainian president continues his diplomatic efforts to secure a long-term support from Western allies. Bureau Report, DD India.
And DD India's Akhilesh Suman joins us on the story now. Akhilesh, the London summit is bringing together key European leaders, but the feeling is that US support for Ukraine remains critical. Do you think the summit will provide answers for lasting peace in Ukraine?
Actually, Tanvi, this summit is going to be complementary to what Mr. Trump had been doing with Mr. Zelenskyy. Because Mr. Trump, that was the first meeting with Zelenskyy. And I think that in first meeting, some diplomatic norms were not followed. What negotiations should take place behind the camera, that took place in front of the camera, and that created disaster. But anyway, European leaders, I think, quite maturely are meeting in London, and they are also accepting that without US support, any negotiation, any solution of the Ukraine crisis cannot be solved. So I think in that way, if you hear Mr. Starmer and if you hear, Italian Prime Minister Meloni, she is telling that European Union and US should have a summit meeting on the issue of Ukraine. Hungarian Prime Minister has written that the European Union should also talk to, Russian President Mr. Putin. So I think all parties are concerned that, peace should be established. And what will be the modality of the peace, that should be decided. And everyone almost is now accepting that, talking to Mr. Putin is quite essential, as talking with Mr. Zelenskyy is also very important. So I think in that way, this summit is going to contribute to Mr. Trump's efforts for peace in Ukraine. And I think in that way, you have seen that NATO is there, Canadian Prime Minister is there, and European Union, from European Union, 14 members have come here. So this summit, I think, will also, give some solace to Mr. Zelenskyy, who had in Washington D.C. that was not very well.
Very well
I
taken
think
forward.
this is going to be persuasive for Mr. Zelenskyy, and it will also bolster the efforts of what Mr. Trump was doing. Tanvi?
Okay. Now, the UK has announced a £2.26 billion loan to help Ukraine buy more arms. What is the message here?
Message is quite clear that Ukraine should not feel like an orphan. This is the message, that if US is putting some conditions on the aid, US has been the largest contributor, as it is claiming. So in that way, I think the soft loan that is being offered by British Prime Minister, I think it is a big solace for not only for President Zelenskyy, but also for the Ukrainian people, because Ukrainian people are also feeling helpless. That what should be done if Americans also goes with Putin. So this is the messaging for Mr. Trump and also for people of Ukraine, that yes, European Union is with you, Europe is with you, you are part of Europe, even if you are not part of European Union. So in that way, it will be a good bolster. It will be a good, when Mr. Zelenskyy goes back to Kyiv, he will have something in his hand to tell to his people, to his cabinet minister, to his party, that yes, Europe is there behind me. And I think this will also help Mr. Trump to reconsider whatever embargo has he put on the further grant. So I think it is going to help both ways. It will help Mr. Zelenskyy, and it will also help Mr. Trump to reconsider, because without support from all sides, from Europe and from America, that is what Mr. Trump wants. That why America should be the only contributor? Why Europe, other nations who are claiming to be sympathetic to the cause of Ukrainians, they should also come forward. And I think Starmer's announcement is in that way.
Okay. We leave it here. Thank you very much, Akhilesh Suman, for your analysis on the story.